This is what today's forest looks like before it burns, often choked with underbrush, much of it dead and dry. Drought-stressed trees become targets of insects, and when there's a lightning strike or a tossed cigarette or a campfire gone wrong, this is often the result. And just one measurement of how bad it's getting in Washington state alone is the number of megafires larger than 100,000 acres. In just the first 15 years of the 21st century, Washington state has had 9 megafires. That number one short of doubling the entire 20th century, which totaled 5.
The current forest conditions demand our attention.
A continent away from the West Fire nightmare, a bipartisan reveal of the Forest Service's new approach. From Sonny Perdue, the Secretary of Agriculture, the Forest Service's parent agency.
We cannot do this ourselves. It's got to be done only in a shared stewardship with our states and local communities.
A commitment for a lot more of this, forest management. One way through more prescribed burning out that underbrush and dead material in the spring and fall when the risk to burning bigger trees is low.
Just this past week, a drone was used to identify a fire right behind where firefighters were fighting.
Washington Senator Maria Cantwell touches on how new technologies will be employed, including infrared spotting drones.
1771, 1776.
Fire is a natural part of the western forest ecosystem. Fires that were far less intense that most trees survived.
1848, 1864.
Last spring, I went to see Paul Hesberg at the Forest Service lab outside of Wenatchee. He's a landscape ecologist. Showed me through tree rings and a multi-million-dollar photographic examination over 7 western states, including our own, how we're losing our natural fire breaks. These photos taken east of the Cascade Crest, not far from I-90.
And John Marshall went back and found that photo point and reshot it in 2013.
The black and white photo shot 84 years ago has lots of bare spots from natural fires.
Absent fire, look at all of this area where the trees have filled in compared to 1934. So that's just a handful of decades.
But those natural fires over the centuries didn't have one of the things we have now, climate change. Governor Inslee today selling a new initiative to try and stop it.
You can do all the management you want till the cows come home, but if climate gets hotter and drier, your forests are still going to burn.
Now, through the campaign season, King 5 will take a deeper dive on this climate initiative.
You've covered a number of these prescribed burns.
Yeah.
Talk about that. They're not as easy to control as some people think.
That's
right?
the part of the problem. You have to have, conditions have to be perfect. It can't be too windy. It can't be too warm. It can't be too dry. So where every year they go into this expecting to burn a lot more acreage than they do, and you're forever seeming to play a game of catch up. We're starting to see more mechanical removal where you actually go in there with chainsaws, grind this up, even talking about using that is even aviation fuel, biofuels. So this hopefully will give more impetus to get a lot more of that going because there is a massive job ahead of them.
All right. Glenn, thank you so much.